Good evening, everybody. I'm Harold. Chloe can't be here. She's off on holiday with her grandma. So she'll be back next week. And today we're going to be pickling beets. We got these from a friend of ours. And yesterday we put them in this kettle and boiled them outside. And you let them boil until your knife just goes in them. It comes right back out like that. Then they're done. And we let them set overnight to cool down, because when you go to peeling them, when they're so hot, you just can't hold on to them. And all you do is cut the end off, cut the root end off, just rub it like that, and every bit of the skin comes right off of it. Keep a little bowl of water handy to wash all the stuff off the beet. Then you just slice it up. About 1/4-inch slices. Then we're just going to wind up doing this whole kettle like that. And it's going to wind up making about 14 quarts. Okay, we're just continuing on peeling them. And I didn't introduce Marcia. She's always been the supporter, but today she's getting the help. And then next, after we get done the beets, we do the onions that go in it, and we'll show you that too. When you get them cooked up nice and tender, the skin just pops right off of them. You don't have to do this large a quantity every time, but we get a bushel and we cook a half bushel at a time. You can actually do it with, if you got a dozen beets, you can make a couple jars. Okay, now I'm going to dip out our liquid that has to go in a recipe when you do your little brew to cook up with your beets. So you take 1 cup per batch, and this is actually, we're making 4 batches. We'll tell you the whole recipe when we get putting it in the kettle. Okay, now we're going to cut up our 4 onions that we're going to add to the brew when we get ready to cook it up to put the beets in. Okay, now we're going to make up our brew. And it's actually called pickling juice. Okay, we're going to pour the 2 cups of the cooking brew out of the beets, the beet broth. We got 9 cups of sugar. We've got 20-some clove heads. And we got 4 cinnamon sticks, and all that goes in. And then we have to add the vinegar, which it takes 4 pints. In canning season, you go through a lot of vinegar and sugar. Now we pour that in. And we got 8 tablespoons of pickling salt. Now we're going to bring that to a boil, and then we add our beets and our onions as soon as we get it simmered. Okay, now we got our liquid to a boil, and we're going to add our beets back into it. I add them like that because I don't like them splashing all over me in that hot water. Marcia's adding the onions. Okay, Marcia, scrape some more of that in.
Whoa.
And when the ones we drop overboard, we don't pick back up.
No, we don't. Okay. Let's add some more onions.
Okay, now we have all that in there. Now we're going to bring that back up to a boil again, stirring, and then we'll put it in the jars, and then we'll process them in the canner. This has got to come to another boil and simmer for about a minute.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Simmer to 5.
And then we'll put it in the jars. Okay, we're preparing our lids for our jars. You put them in a kettle and just get them warm. You don't get them, you get them hot, but you don't boil them. You get them so then that way the rubber gasket is good and rubbery, and then when you put it on the jars, they'll all seal for you. Okay, now we have our products been boiling. We turn the heat back so it don't boil too hard. Now we're going to keep it running while we're putting it in the jars. We take this 2-cup Tupperware thing, cup, and you pour it into your jars. And you bring the juice up within a 1/2 inch of the top of the jar. And before you ever get started canning, always make sure you got the right tools. This little funnel right here, you can't do it without that. I guess you could, but you'd really make a mess. And always when you wipe your lid, wipe the rim of your jar with a wet rag or paper towel, so you make sure there's no debris that gets on between your lid and your glass.
Okay, I'm cleaning off the jar because if you leave any debris on there, it will not seal. Tighten your lid and your rim. Couple beets and juice.
Okay, we've just about got them all in the jars now, and then we'll go through the last process. When you dip your cinnamon sticks out, you just throw them overboard. When you get a little bit too much in there, you have to take a little bit out. These things taste mighty good. Alright, now we've got them in our canner, and this canner you can get at the local hardware store, Walmart, or any place like that. And then, like I say again, we always cook it outside on the cooker so we don't have the heat in the house. And then we're going to light the fire back up. Okay, get it in here. Okay, the fire's going, and we're going to just bring them to a boil. Okay, here's the finished product. We made 13 quarts out of a 1/2 bushel. A bushel of beets will make you about 26 quarts. You can make them in pint jars if you'd rather, if you don't eat a whole quart at a time. And then always date your jar, and before you put them on the shelf, always punch the tops of them like this and make sure you don't hear any popping noise, and that means all of them are sealed up and they're ready for your winter eating. Until next time, I'm Harold. Happy canning.